Hi everybody, I'm Gaia Ceddia, and today we'll talk about my poster, Graphlet Coefficient Vector, a comprehensive topological descriptor for biological networks. So I will give you outline. So motivation behind the definition of these new topological descriptors. I will talk about the methods, so the definition of Graphlet coefficient and the local and global network statistic based on this coefficient. And I will talk about some results we have about this. So the motivation behind this is that molecular molecules which whose local topology is similar also have correlated behavior in their biological functions. And actually, the Graphlet-based measures prove to be the most sensitive to understanding the local topology of networks. And in particular, Graphlet degree vectors are comprehensive descriptors of the local topology of nodes in the network. However, these Graphlet degree vectors are also redundant and their magnitude is not normalized. So we need descriptors that is normalized and for a proper comparison. And so we define Graphlet coefficient and we leverage the redundant relationship between Graphlet counts to define this new coefficient, which are normalized orbit coefficients. And they're based on 4 different family or redundancy equations: the adjacency equations, degree equation, orbit adjacency equations, and Orca equations. So what we did was also to define a local statistic based on the Graphlet coefficient. So to measure the topological similarity between local varying patterns of the nodes, we use 4 different similarity measures: the Euclidean distance, the GDV distance, Johnson-Shannon divergence, and the weighted Euclidean. Also, to compare 2 networks, we define the global statistic based on the Graphlet coefficients, which is calculated by the Euclidean distance of the triangle values of the Graphlet coefficient similarity matrix of each network. So we have a local statistic and a global statistic based on the Graphlet coefficient. The first our results shows that using like models networks like the random networks, the Barbashi network, the sticky networks, and real networks like based on Facebook, autonomous metabolic protein structure, and word trade networks. We wanted to see if our new descriptor could classify these networks and the real networks. So we wanted to see if the classification, how the classification is it actually with our new descriptors. And here we can see that the GCVG family of redundancy equation outperforms the classical GCM, which is global statistic based on the Graphlet degree vectors. And so we can see that actually we can outperform that. So our new descriptor is better classify these networks. We have the same results with the PR curves. Here show the same results, and so we can see that GCVG has the highest average precision score and outperforms the classical Graphlet-based measure. Also, we wanted to prove that our method can capture the functional organization of each molecular network. So we perform gene enrichment analysis. First of all, we have a GCV matrix based on the 4 family of redundancy equations. Then we have a dissimilarity measure because we use the Euclidean, these 4 and these 4 similarity measures to then cluster the nodes. And we perform the gene enrichment analysis on the clusters on the resulted clusters. So these are the results on Homo sapiens networks. The first plot is PPI Homo sapiens networks. The second is co-expression Homo sapiens network. So here we can see that there's a percentage of rich genes, so we can capture the functional organization in this particular organism, and we can see that GCVG and GCVO outperform the other family of equations, and also that Johnson, Shannon divergence, and weighted Euclidean are the best similarity measures to compute this local statistic. So to conclude, we can see that the Graphlet coefficient vectors are fine-grained topological descriptors that can classify diverse types of networks. The global statistic outperforms the classical GDVision statistic for the classification task. And for the local statistic, we can better capture the functional organization through the coefficients instead of the degree. Also, we can see that GCVG and GCVO are the two family of equations that better performs all the tasks, so the local statistic and the global statistic. And this is my conclusion for the poster. Thank you for listening.